Hello, everybody, and welcome to a little bonus episode of the Headspace podcast. This is the show where we break down new-ish hip-hop albums track by track, give thoughts and opinions, and just kind of talk about what is interesting. Normally, I'm joined with my friend Chris Chrome, but unfortunately, he's gotten a promotion at work that has him no longer available Saturdays, which was our recording day, during the day. And if you see me reaching over, I am battling both the wind and a cat to keep the door closed because the little metal piece where it latches, well, that shit's broken. I digress. That's not your problem, but it'll explain why I keep leaning over. Today I'm going to be breaking down Underrated by Papoose, the album. My name is Holden Stephan Roy, and like I said, normally I'm with Chris, but moving forward, these bonus ones is going to come before the main episodes as I record them through the day, depending on how it all goes, just because I got the time and he's at work until the evening, so he'll be back, and you'll see him on the next episode probably. Anyway, this is a show, like I said, where we go through the albums track by track, but chances are you person watching this are a much bigger fan of Papoose than I am. I say that simply because we just kind of pick names off of what came out, and we're trying to find like the more underground, the more interesting rappers these days, and we're like almost on a little bit of a mission just to prove that the realest shit ever is still being made, because so many people out there don't believe it. So I'm gonna go find it, and then if people ask, I'll be like, yo, check out that playlist where all of those real albums came out, and they're all new albums when the episode came out. I digress. That's what I'm trying to do. I want to love the culture and I want to understand it, but I also recognize that while I have a lot of ideas, I'm not an expert. So over the course of this journey, y'all in the comments can interact and just kind of help us all grow and feel like it's a little bit of a conversation. So feel free to say anything that you would like down below, and I really appreciate all the comments, and I read all of the comments and I answer any comment, positive or negative. But because it's a bonus episode, I figured I'll just start cherry picking comments I thought were cool. And I like this one because it was on the Chief Keef and Zaytoven Glotoven album, and Kota Glow goes, "This is beautiful." And you gotta understand, I was a little bit nervous to talk about Chief Keef because it's not really a world I fully understand. So to get that kind of a comment meant a lot. So as you can see, I said, "Thank you so much for the cool comment." That's a version of my stock answer, I'll be honest. And then he's like, "Yeah, dude, would love to see you react to more Chief Keef music to come in 2019. And that might just happen because I kind of like the energy of a Chief Keef. All y'all about the lyrics, I get what you feel, but I kind of like it. That's just where I'm at. So if you do comment, I will answer you. I want it to be like a community. Everyone out there in the reviewer reacting world seems to have like either this reactions to the actual songs, not a lot of content, and then all the people with content want to be negative nillies all the time. So I'm just going to try and look for all the shit I like and stuff, and well, do my best to be positive along the way. Terrible at it, but that's my life mission right now. Discover positivity and all that stuff that you're supposed to do in your 30s to not be miserable in your 40s. So anyway, let's get into it, and before we do, I want to give a special thanks to the patrons, TJ Black Hurricane, Linda Williams, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, and Ismail Kadamsi. We'll talk a bit about that at the end of the video, but gotta show them love at the beginning while you're still watching. So yeah, let's jump into this Papoose underrated review. Say it one more time for the Google AdWords. Papoose underrated. No bullshit. They like it when you say it a lot. It tells them it's the keyword of the video, which helps it be displayed to you. Anyway, I like to start this off by describing my familiarity with the artist. I think it's really important just because it creates a context and an understanding of how you appreciate the album. What I mean is, if you've been listening to this shit you've been listening to Papoose for like a decade, you've been a big fan, heard every project, etc., etc., listening to something like Underrated, you're gonna have a certain feeling coming into it. On the other hand, if you've seen him on Love and Hip Hop and you know a lot about Remy, etc., you're gonna have a certain feeling. Or if this is just the first time you ever listened to the album, you're gonna have a completely different feeling. So that's what I mean by that. So I like to start it off just with that. And for me, I knew who Papoose was back when Alphabet Slaughter dropped, because I was in Cégep, which is the weird Quebec in-between college, and basically it was just thriving at the dawn of YouTube, one of those viral videos. And then I knew Papoose had a reputation for being able to rap really well, but at that time in my life, I wasn't ready for it. I didn't really listen to much by him. I think even at the time, I wasn't even listening to much rap. I was really into the more metalcore side of life, as they lay dying type shit. Um, then, I forgot about Papoose. And then Remy Ma was somebody that we reviewed early on in this channel, and we learned about Papoose, his loyalty to her, and how amazing he was. And I thought that was really touching, like the whole jail situation, getting married, sticking through her. Like, it was really sweet. Like, it was like, damn. So we knew that Papoose and Remy Ma was like a thing, and it was like a really cool couple, like an example to follow type shit. But as far as the music goes, no idea. I didn't even know what he really looked like until I watched music video for this project. But then, yeah, I started watching State of the Culture, and Joe Budden retweeted me, and that made me feel very special. I'm certain it's buried now, but if you check my timeline, it's not that buried. You'll see where Joe Budden retweeted me. But that was really cool, and it got me thinking. Like, I listened to her talk about how dope of a guy Papoose is, and I knew that his project came out, and I don't remember what else came out around it, but we never got around to it. I believe that it dropped in February, so I know I'm a little bit late on it, and I've listened to the album now for a couple weeks because I was supposed to review it 2 weekends ago, didn't do it. Supposed to do it last weekend, didn't do it, and yeah, so I'm gonna be focusing on some time management and getting my shit together so I can be more efficient, but finally got around to it today because I had it all ready to go and I just never recorded it. And since I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just get it out of the way, get her done, as they say in some circles. So I don't have a lot to know about Papoose except that everybody respects the guy, and he seems to be like one of the real ones based on the reputation of going into it and like knowing about him without actually ever consuming much of his media. Like, I come to think of it, I didn't even listen to the Alphabet Slaughter when I prepped for this. I haven't heard that shit in like, I can't remember how long ago it was. It was like definitely around when it dropped. So yeah, I was kind of excited just to see, because we did do Remy Ma's There's Something About Remy album also on the channel. So it's like, who is the guy that's with this one, Like, I was curious, and so I don't want to dilly-dally anymore. I don't have a lot more to say. Let's talk a bit about the title and the cover. So on the cover, you kind of see him. Hold on, let me just bring it right up in my fucking face. You see him, and it looks like he's got some shit on. I don't know. I'm not describing this well. It's kind of grayed out, smoky, kind of like he's not so prominent. It's got very dark coloring. I think it really fits with the idea of being underrated, because visually it doesn't look like he's so prominent and flashy and trying to catch attention. It's more like he's in the shadows and it's dark and it's kind of moving away. So I thought that was nifty. But the title itself being underrated in and of itself is a fascinating thing, right? Because I can appreciate the sentiment of that. Whether or not you think I have talent, I definitely feel that underrated feeling. I think most people on the grind in their 30s and beyond who have not achieved success, who have continued to work on any kind of a craft, will proceed to have this underrated feeling. And then I can only imagine how a person like Papoose, who actually has some like success and can like live off the art as I understand it and has all this shit popping, like, it must be even harder to feel underrated. Now, I looked into Papoose. Part of why I didn't record it last week is because I got distracted listening to interviews about the beefs and stuff that he had, where allegedly he got blackballed from the community over some shit that went down. I don't want to get into the shit that went down because I don't know enough about it to talk about it, but I did listen to some stories just to kind of get the context, because I had a big question. Why didn't Papoose pop in any significant way? And unfortunately, in this world, like, if you don't pop at the right time or when your shit's supposed to, or especially if you're lyrical like him, I mean, it must have only gotten harder as the time period moved into the more less lyrical path of the mainstream. But I can imagine how people directly impede your momentum when you're riding off of that dope Alphabet Slaughter wave and getting all that hype up, and if somebody clips it, must be fucking hard to like get into it. I don't know. I haven't broken into any kind of real success, so I don't know what that's like, but I just picture it like he is one of those guys where, having heard this project, when he says I'm underrated, it's like, oh yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Like, it's weird how more people aren't talking about Papoose's rhyming ability in this world where you have this Tom McDonald dude criticizing all the sad rappers and whatnot. It's like, man, we've gotten into such a weird place where I really hope we get more of these older cats who can like spit some knowledge and shit. As we'll go through the album, you'll see it. But anyway, not much more to say. This is the format, going through it track by track, and we're gonna start with the title track, Underrated.
Rappers, good night. You wear a lot of name brand clothes, but they don't look right. You ain't fly.
Yo, Pop, can I call you that? I hope that's not disrespectful. But I'm hearing you, because you're Christ. You're like, does anybody hear me? Is anyone listening? Well, Papoose, right over here in Montreal, Quebec, I am listening, and I did hear you, and I like this. It starts off with one of those beats that's got that epic grandeur to it. Like, this is not meant to be like a low-key head bop, and this is like almost snazzy, like, I don't know, maybe that mid-2000s hype shit. But as an older cat in my life now, I really love it. It's just like almost a throwback to like this great sound that almost was my introduction to rap in the first place. But lyrically is, I think, where it got interesting for me, because right off the jump, I don't write rhymes, I write prescriptions, because these sinking in. My wife is religious, her Louis Vuittons are Christian. And I realized at that moment, it's going to be a lot of those maybe one-linery reference typey shits where I'm kind of not the best with those. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of humor and puns in general at this point in my life. I have a lot of trouble picking it up. It's also like requiring me to know shit. So yes, I got that first line proper. I don't write rhymes, I write prescriptions, because, you know, they're sickening. So people are kind of bad at what they're doing and shit. So him coming in with his awesome fucking lyrical prowess, it's basically like he is curing the fucking disease of whack rappers and shit. All with you there. My wife is religious, her Louis Vuittons are Christian. And then, thank goodness, there's like a Genius annotation that was like the Louis Vuittons from Christian Dior. Oh, right. So she's religious because her shoes have Christian, and that's a pun. See, that line I had a little bit more trouble with, because fashion is just not my... I mean, you may have noticed I wear like a lot of the same shit over and over again. Fashion is just not my thing. But, so I was like, okay, that's... While I didn't get the line at first, once it connected what it meant, and picturing Remy Ma's impeccable fashion sense, because she really dresses fresh, like, all the time, is what I noticed. Yeah, I'm feeling it. I was like, that's really well written. I put so many holes in you when I bag out the Smith & Wesson. When the wind blow you gonna be whistling. And then immediately into slicing you up with guns, to a point where you like cheese and you got some whistling as the fucking wind passes through. And then the pow sound. And it's just like, it's powerful, right? Like, this reminds me of that more hard-hitting New York side of hip-hop. I don't know. I want to say streets, but I don't know if it... I guess it is. It's got a lot of those puns. It's really nice. I was really, like, blown away by his talent and this high-energy thing. So when he does go, I got so much stamina, man, I could go the distance. I got so busy out on the street, I needed an assistant. A credit to God, because he taught me to be persistent, consistent, relentless, overcome the resistance. I'm just like, man, that's fucking, like... transitioning right into almost like both he's got the ability to accomplish what he's got to do. He's so out there and always doing a bunch of different hustles, trying to figure some shit out. He needs help because he's basically a fucking CEO, you know, and they need assistance and shit. And then immediately gives the credit to God, humbling himself out, showing that, you know, not that he needed help, but he got help from the higher powers and shit. I really like that. It's like it's almost like if there's a checkbox for real shit, like what I guess puts off my, oh, that dude's real sensor. In those first opening lines, he hit like everything a Robert Greene book would tell you about a real person being proper. I don't know, man. It was really cool. I really enjoy... Oh, there, the wind slammed the door. Yo, this what New York sound like. Verse whack, but your hook tight. look in my eyes, this is what New York looked like. Lames all up in the video, Suge Knight. And I really enjoyed that line just because I got it, because you know how Suge Knight called out Puff Daddy for being all up dancing in the videos. And I think it's kind of pointing to maybe a certain lack of authenticity in the pop side of what he sees. I don't want to comment too much on that shit because it's not my business, is what I feel like. I don't know enough about New York rap right now, but I can tell you one thing. When he does drop on that, my music falling on deaf ears, does anybody hear me? It was like, damn, that was a really tight verse. I guess I see where he's coming from. He's not just claiming to be underrated. He's kind of empirically proving that he's got all the game to be right in a conversation with a lot of the people you think is popping, and yet he's underrated. And then the whole second verse, I feel like, falls on through, like, my endeavors are clever, but intelligent and brave. I could disconnect him and dead him, I set him in his grave. Dead presidents get made while my record getting played. A veteran who age way better than them lames. I thought that was cool. Like, the whole verse will keep the same flow. He's a talented person, but that part made me think, right? Because on top of just the fact that he's extremely talented and he's flowing it really well, he's pointing out that through this music thing that he's underrated for, he is still getting plays, he is still getting paid, he is still doing some shit. And as time goes on, it's like his prospects are increasing, whereas so many people who popped in the first place are just done. You just don't hear about them no more. Whereas a Papoose, who I heard about back in the day and it never happened, coming this late into the game, still having an opportunity and proving that he can pop. Because, I mean, I don't see why this guy can't do another, like, 15 albums at this point. He's very talented and he's got a lot of shit to say. I digress. That hype beats, that verse flips up, really sounds wonderful. I was really impressed with this track. Ty Stick did the beat, seems really great. Overall, I gave it a 4.3. I don't know if this is my hype up anthem, but this is one hell of a fucking song in terms of starting off an album, living up to the concept, and doing what I believe a bar-driven fucking song about being good does. Being true to yourself, being witty, but also at no point do you hear Papoose overstating and saying some shit where you're scratching your head. Also, he's not fucking my girl. Thank you, Papoose, for... I mean, you got Remy, so I don't know why... Well, don't tell Bonnie, but I get it. You wouldn't want to come over here, but so many other rappers with beautiful ladies are still trying to fuck my girl. So thank you, Papoose, for being a real one. 4.3 on this track. I think it's really strong start, but y'all heard of the alphabet slaughter. It's time to talk about the numerical slaughter.
He had a 3-pound when he caught his third strike. He a 3-time loser. They gave him a 3 to life.
So I don't remember what happened, but the other DJ that was doing the numerical slaughters doesn't play nice with Papoose anymore as a result of that beast. K-Slay, I think it was. I hope I didn't get that wrong. I did try to Google before this one, folks. I really did. And then DJ Premier takes over and he's doing this shit. You heard, though he does the little introduction, you heard the legendary alphabet slaughter. My man Papoose is back to make history again. Check it. I'ma scream out the numbers and he gonna break him down from 1 to 9. Where's 0 at? I just have to put, so because there's a 10 to 20, spoiler alert, where the fuck is 0? 0 is where this shit should have started, in my humble opinion, okay? But then I was going like, what the fuck's he gonna do with numbers? Like, it really works with letters because it's an alliteration game. So it's like, you know, asinine apples, you know, you just keep running with the A words, then the B words. But let's see what he does with the numbers. So what's the first number? Not 0, 1. To keep it 100, all I need is one mic. You only live once, God gave you one life. I caught one felony, committed one crime. I was on First Street, ducking from one time. It's only one light, one king, one son, one lead. Love's gonna get you, KRS-1. 2. I was like, okay, first of all, I want to say that the actual rapping in that verse is tight, and it was really cool because there's a lot of homage, like almost like an homage to some influence shit. Like I think One Mic is a ridiculously good song, and it does kind of start off like that. It almost feels like in homage to how the structure of One Mic is done. So that's really cool. And then he kind of describes some shit going on. And then I really like the Love's Gonna Get You, because we recently reviewed that album, the Boogie Down Productions Edutainment Project, where we discover that the Handle That Vibe beat was actually the same shit from Love's Gonna Get You by KRS-One. Boom, connections through history that we learned on this channel. Anyway, so I was like, as like the concept of this numerical slaughter goes, I was highly underwhelmed. As the quality of this song goes in general, I was feeling the vibe. So I had a very mixed emotion there. 2, then he had to run from 2 cops for 2 blocks. It's too hot. That 2, where he goes too hot, isn't the number 2. I don't know if it should count for the concept, but fine, maybe I'm being a nitpicker. Hand on my 22, listening to Tupac, I'm a 2-time. Anyway, he goes all the way on through and he keeps rolling. Like, we could build on a 6, guys. 6 stands for equality. That's if you Swift guy. Heck, I like the numerology bit there. It's something on my bucket list over the next couple of years to look into the numerology and the various shit, like what the honorable, not to say shit, but what the honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings and just that kind of stuff, because it's such a prevalent influence in so much hip-hop that it would be ignorant of me to not actually go to more way to learn it. And I know numerology is a part of that, so I really appreciate those little nuggets and I try to remember them. That's if you Swift God. And I guess because of that God reference, it makes me just kind of picture that the Nation of Islam in general and their teachings. I don't actually know if Papoose is affiliated with that, but it just makes me picture it, and I still know it's a prevalent part of hip-hop. Head cracked, you had a dice game, I rolled a 6, y'all. Fuck a 16, I could kill you in 6 bars. That 16 is a little bit of a... Oh, on that note, how is he going to do 16, 17, 18, 19? Those would be... I want to hear how he does those. That would be weird, because that's a lot of the same stuff. Anyway, I'm just looking at this, and I'm not trying to be a hater in any way. I really enjoyed the track because it's, like, really well done, but I don't know that the concept hit me what I was hoping for. I don't know that I could do better, but they say 7's been a lucky number, but we've been suffering 7 winters and 6 summers. Hold on a second. He put 6 in the 7 category. I've been a nitpicker every time I try to think about this shit because of the concepts, but still, I really enjoyed it. I like how he goes, I got 99 problems and a bitch ain't one. If the G don't get you, get the 9 on the king. 9's all over my shirt, Gino Green. Like, it feels fly. It has this freshness to it. His rapping is impeccably done. He's so on point. Then he starts the second verse, which all of a sudden I got hype and interested when he does the 10. I was a tenant in him. 10 minutes had hustling tendencies. 10 tell me like Memphis, that's something Tennessee. 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. 10 toes down. Hold up, Pop. We got to save that for your next album coming soon. I'm like, yo, did they just do that shit? I understand that's some old school marketing crap. I understand that hype up shit. But I think that little bit in the 10 part was better than the rest of the song. And it got me real excited. Nah, it's cool. It makes me actually kind of want to listen to the next album. So it also was a cool way to announce the next album. Something about it just felt so non-commercial. It felt like this is some fucking for the people type shit. I gave this a 4.35. I really did enjoy it. The beat is ridiculous. DJ Premier does something nice. The concept is cool. I know I was being a little bit of a hater, but I'm trying to practice being a little more comical with it, so it's a little more entertaining or something. Sorry if I missed the mark, but I do think that track was impressive, all things considered. He stuck to it, even if it wasn't like what I was hoping for. Still, all things considered, there's a third eye that we got to discuss.
Decisions on your plate, eat shit because they shit it on entirely, and they don't.
All of a sudden, we go from maybe some flossing in the first song, some super flossing in the second song, to some fucking smack you in the face with some knowledge in the third song, and I really like it. I really enjoy just the way this one flows in. If you've been following me for a minute, I'm into the challenging, I want to learn some shit type rhymes. So right off the jump, hearing some shit like, Trump claimed black and Latino employment is at the lowest ever. He can't fool the smart people because we be knowing better. Your claim to fame is false, null and void. How can that be true when the young is unemployed? They don't have high school diplomas, you annoying fool. Then not only are they unemployed, they're unemployable. Kanye West said slavery was a choice, but he should be muzzled without a voice. And I just wanted to like say that hit me, and I'm like, yo, that's an interesting point. I know that there are rates that are being quoted. I'm also certain that like there's some funny business that goes on in the way that certain things are presented to the public. I'm not 100% familiar with U.S. politics being a Canadian, but I know stuff like our inflation rate doesn't take into account food or electricity and shit. So while the inflation rate says a number, it's also possible that that number is lower than the real number. And so it's very easy to maybe skew some shit to imply that more black people are employed, but that doesn't necessarily... And let's say that that's even true. That doesn't even talk about the quality of the jobs or the salaries attached to the jobs or what fields they're in. Like, are we talking about black and Latino employment is doing great in the tech sector where salaries are higher? Or are we talking about black and Latino employment is doing better in fast food and retail, which are dying industries? Which is why, how can that be true when the young is unemployed? They don't have high school diplomas, you employing fool, so they're unemployable or whatever. That really hit me, right? Because for me, education has been a privilege in my life. There's something I've really come to appreciate. I don't even know about the white privilege part of my life, but I know that I read a lot of books when I was young, and when it comes down to absorbing concepts and information, I'm pretty smart, and I don't try to like be arrogant about that. I look at it like I've come to realize maybe not everybody in life was given the opportunity of the great elementary school education I had, or the caring teachers in high school that I had, regardless of the quality of my high school, or just any of that shit. Like, Quebec education is not very good compared to what I got. And just by graduating when I did versus 5 years later, the quality of my education shifted that much. So the idea that in like the worst of the communities, that people can't even get jobs because they can't even get diplomas and they're not even qualified to do shit. So when you look around at these communities and you realize that, and you're hearing the president spit some bullshit, it just sounds as disconnected as some of the shit we hear in Quebec from our politicians. Y'all should look into Quebec politics. You might have a fucking field day with it. Then the Kanye West part. I don't know about Kanye. My understanding of the situation, and again, it's my understanding, is that that dude does not know how to speak before, like, he speaks without thinking. I'm guilty of the same thing. All day at work, sometimes I spit bullshit, and it's dumb shit. It's not necessarily what I mean to say. It's damaging, irreparably damaging type of shit. And so I look at Kanye like a guy who talks too much, because I'm a guy who talks too much. And unfortunately, with his position and the shit he chooses to say, I don't know that he's fully aware of the consequences of all of his actions per se, and his accountability isn't exactly great, unfortunately. But I don't think he's evil. I also don't know if he should be muscled without a voice. I think Kanye should get some timeouts, and then, like, maybe if he wants to be smarter about it, see what he has to say. But I also get the point that if he's going to be making seriously damaging comments, perhaps we shouldn't allow people to do that anymore. And that's a big issue and a huge topic for another time. But all I can say is free speech is an interesting thing when the measles are back. That's because of free speech that the measles are back, because there is no regulation on that type of shit in terms of what can be said and propaganda. Anyway, that's a whole tangent. But I like songs or albums or just concepts that can give my brain that kind of a mental activity of just getting so lost in, like, side points. Then I like how it just, like, it flows into it. The chorus is kind of like just talking, like they came together from the corners of the world, corners of the city, corners of the street. There's a difference between raising kids and saving kids. And it's just kind of like commenting on society and where shit's at, you know? And I really feel like it really complements the more serious, knowledge-driven tone of the verses. In the second verse, Gaddafi had a plan to garner the gold market, so the U.S. murdered him. They're heartless. Slavery never ended in Libya. They only publicizing it now because they're tricking you. It only ended in America because we disputed facts. Fought back civil war, civil rights movement. Putin helped Trump in the election so we could lift the sanctions on the steel from Exxon. And it just kind of, like, flows out like that in the second verse. It's a bit more, and you get the sense that he's looking at the global politics out there, and that's something that I don't think a lot of people really do, is follow global politics. And I don't know a lot about Gaddafi. I mean, I know a lot about how there's a whole lot of people who point out the great things he did, and then there's another group of people that point out some of the not so great things he did. I haven't actually looked at it, but, like, just pointing out that there is something weird to the fact that he resisted the overall like Rothschild banks and all that shit and got clipped like he did. And why did America clip him and all this other stuff? It is the type of thing to think about, and how slavery is still prevalent, and you know, all sorts of money driven decisions with Trump. Like, it's just little snippets of corruption at like a top level that involve America in some way, I believe. I don't care about the rhymes that you write with your pen, cause my lyrics written in stone. Yeah, I molded them. When God made me, he broke the mold, chose to win. Papoose taking over this this generation is lazy, tired of holding it in. Instead of getting liposuction, why don't they go to the gym? Money is a tool, not something for you to use. A man that disagrees with that is just a fool. If you think cash gives you authority, that's cruel. Morals, values, principles, that's the rules. Experience is the best teacher you could choose. So to have a lot of class is cool. Life is a school. And I like how, with all the bullshit that gets described in the other two verses, Papoose in that last verse kind of flips it over towards rappers or people who are kind of the next generation coming in. And he's commenting on, like, look, all your little fluffy fluff, it's garbage, man. I'm writing that real shit, that almost God-inspired stone tablet type shit, kind of put like a Moses reference. Like, he's almost a prophet in a sense. This generation is lazy. I'm tired of holding it in. I have to dispute that. That's just a little bit of old man shit, because this generation's not lazy. This generation's desperate. I don't know if those are the same thing. Like, unfortunately, anybody trying to start music in 2019 is facing a saturation issue where, like, everywhere you go there's like 1,000 rappers and everybody sounds the same and it's all sorts of shit. Plus, if you don't make shit that sounds like everybody else, you get all the haters and whatnot. And the education on how to do it right isn't there, because if you Google how to do it right, it's a bunch of guys giving you a bunch of crap. And, like, I'm not trying to make excuses for it, but I don't think lazy is the right word. I think people like to call it lazy, but I like to think it's more ignorant and desperate. Because I'm in, like, that in-between generation, like J. Cole. I'm like that middle child generation, because I'm kind of old to the young cats and I'm kind of young to the old cats. I'm 2 years younger than J. Cole, so I get to claim that shit. The middle child, whoop. Anyway, so when I look at that kind of shit, I'm like, yo, Papoose, man, you're not fully hitting it. In terms of that one little sentence, and then kind of pointing out women who get liposuction instead of going to the gym, as if that wasn't happening back when Papoose was young. Like, are you kidding me? Of course it was. That shit's not new, but it is an interesting point. You could go to the gym, only it takes a year or two longer, and then you're not able to maybe get the free shit for the intercourse that you're going for with that business model. Facts. But I do appreciate how he flips it right into, like, how money should not be your priority, because money should not be your priority. If I wanted to make money, I would not be making long-ass fucking bullshit reviews in the way that I do it. I would be doing the little 8-minute snippets, bang out shit all the time, reactions for days, and I'd probably be able to do the Adam 21 shit, 22, whatever, and, like, charge y'all for, like, I could do a lot of those more cheeky, selloty things, because it's actually just systematic and the knowledge is out there. And I mean, I don't want to do it. I'm hoping that as time goes on, by really focusing on these albums, taking my time to go through them, just having these real conversations with y'all and letting you see that while I'm a clunky, awkward fucker who you might not find that interesting, at least I'm a real one. That's what I'm trying to do with this. So I appreciated that little part, because I don't think money is anything but a tool either. And I think that people who believe that money inherently gives you a power doesn't understand how power works. Money is power if you understand how power works. Money is just a thing to blow. If you don't, you're gonna go and floss power for a Look, you could come up to me and you could be making 100 times what I make, and you could have all the nice things in the world, but you'll have no power over me unless you can really figure out what to do with that money to enforce power in my life. Like, are you paying my bills? Okay, maybe now you got some power. Oh, you drive a real nice car? Okay. You trying to fuck my girl? Okay. I don't know, man. It's just fucking like what it is. I really like that, how he's like, learn from life. It's a school. School's cool. It's like such a dad joke way to end the song, but it's such a powerful one to me. And I think that, you know, for the third track, a little short guy, it's only 2 minutes. The fact that it has so much power built into that little song is incredible to me. So 4.5 on 5. I really dug it. And why don't we move on then to God MC?
It's artificial. Marvin, we gon' continue to rob you for your residuals. This be our little
Man, Papoose wrote a really hard, fucking powerful track. I mean, this first verse, well, first of all, the beat is like, got that old school head boppy kind of feel to it. You know, you're vibing. You're just waiting for some lyrics to fuck some shit up. So Papoose comes on. He's unbelievable. Papoose. I'll launch a larger missile. That's how I'll resolve an issue. You start so much shit, you should carry a starter pistol. Let's see how good that does you when no low revolvers hit you. When all the revolvers hit you, you just a partial. You such a target, it's hard to miss you. At your funeral, nobody in your squad will miss you. There'll be no crying, no sense in buying up all the tissue. They walk up to your casket, not even your moms will kiss you. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, eh? So you're like, he's got guns and shit, and people are around, right? And he's got the ability to just destroy you and decimate you, right? And you come in and you're like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm gonna talk my shit. I'm gonna pop off at you, and he's gonna blast you so powerfully that you're gonna find out how ridiculously unpopular you are, in the sense that not even your own mom's gonna kiss you. You're a bastard, to the point where your dad's gonna not even your father will miss you. It's like, fuck, man. He's just going pretty savage. It's just like, you're a fucking irrelevant nothing. He just breaks it down. It's got this savagery to it. But what really sells it is the nonchalance in the tone of his voice, right? Because if he had come in like, I'd launch a larger missile, that's how I resolve it. Like, if he was coming in like fucking hard and shit, I don't think it will have the same effect. This has a swagger in the delivery that just has this cockiness to it, where like you believe it. Where it doesn't matter if he's just like it doesn't matter what, it just, you buy into all of it, and it's just so well delivered. I mean, overall the verse kind of flows in. Always been the smartest, the artist, my artificial. His job is just the hardest, his artist is artificial. That's when he's talking to the manager and kind of criticizing him for making the foolish choice of signing this fake ass motherfucker. They're going to rob you for your residuals. This be our little secret. This robbery confidential. And I love that. It's like, you know, I'm not going to put it on blast. This isn't about the cloud and shit. We're just going to, like, take your fucking money, and we're not going to talk about it. I mean, we'll mention it loosely in a song over here, but, like, the fact is, the specifics, whatever went on, nobody's going to know. That old school type shit. I really liked it. And then that chorus is just nice. It's just like a bunch of sampling, I believe. Don't let me tell you where I'm from. Brook now, we can't stop here. It ain't a facade, it's God and the MC. I'm the God, I spit the sun, moon, and stars. Let's see what this is. He revisits his 2000, this is from Static Selecta, revisits his 2009 produced track Crazy by M.O.G, chops up Lil Fame and Terminology's verses, and then throws them into this hook for Papoose. That is what's being sampled here, and I think it fits really real nice in the sense of like something really enjoyable for that hook to kind of give that like old school feel to it, because that's what this is, a hard-hitting kind of old school song to it. And I really love the idea of how that shit just keeps coming back and does not go away. And so a lot of people that think hip-hop's dead, nah, man, everybody, even the good producers, can still have their chance to shine as long as we support the right shit. So he immediately structures the plan and strikes strategically. Before I make a move, I carefully scope the scenery. Avoiding contact with the ignorant is the key to me, but recently I have been engaging more frequently. I'm trying to keep positive thoughts and think peacefully, but the snake's gotta just cross and keep deactivating me, or deceiving me, sorry. And then it flows in from there, like he's trying to be pure, proper, keep his game on lock and flow it. But what I love about it is just how smooth his rapping is. I mean, that little part is very straightforward. He's keeping it real. Snakes are just tempting him, but he's trying to live proper. But it's just, everything rhymes the way it's supposed to. Every syllable is on point the way it's supposed to be. Like, if you're gonna call yourself underrated, I do suppose you have to drop with the skill level that is this. There's nothing missed. There's nothing fucked up here. Every part of his flow, like you can tell, he has been rapping his ass off for so long that it's second nature to him. I think this song is absolutely brilliant. It's a little bit, weirdly enough, it feels shorter than the last one, but it also has this flossier, fucking enjoyable tone to it. I was enthralled. I think this is a great fucking track. So I gave this a 4.75 on 5, and that's how I feel as I move towards the University of the Streets.
But your wood is dry rotted.
So this song is pretty cool. I feel like it's kind of looking at him as a real authentic MC against his perception, against other people's careers and how they build it up and whatnot. And I thought it was proper. Like, the first song really applied to me. The first lines really applied to me. Mainstream America don't know that I'm nice, but they respect me for the love that I show to my wife. If they step into the mall when I'm holding the mic, they would see I keep a dead body over my ice. I was like, damn. So the truth is, I didn't know he was nice as a rapper. I really, really didn't. But I did know that he respects Remy Ma and sets a real standard on what a proper husband type figure is supposed to be. For those of us with divorced parents and fucked up situations, that type of shit's always been kind of admirable. And then I love how he immediately flips it like, yo, but if you ever see me rapping, I'm killing motherfuckers. Like, they're just ready. They're already dead at the start. You know, I just appreciate it. Those who follow true hip-hop know I'm precise. Well, Papoose, I think I'm following true hip-hop, and I definitely think you're precise, my man. Well said. I agree with that. I would salute the general. I appreciate it. Overall, I like how he just focuses in on substance. He focuses in on the purity, but then he says something that got me feeling a certain way. So they didn't buy the album. I show him the lead. I guess $10 was too much when I told him my price. I'm a psychotic, bionic, applied knowledge university of the streets, my college. Now, I appreciate the sentiment that this album is definitely worth the $10 and that people don't really buy records anymore. But in the same way that kids aren't lazy, it's a lot harder to justify spending $10 on a record these days. I mean, I make music, and I even appreciate the fact that selling records is kind of an antiquated idea. I mean, I buy your shirt, Papoose, I go to your fucking show, but what do I need a piece of plastic for? Like, what? I pay for Spotify and shit. I know this might not be a popular opinion for a lot of people, but there's a lot of ways that this guy could probably make that $10, and selling the album is unfortunately not a good way. And this isn't just some shit that's like rappers are facing. This is like a global problem. That's why the news outlets are all trash and whatnot, because this is how content has been so devalued. So I appreciate the idea of what he's trying to say, only, I mean, I'm going to buy every album I ever reviewed once there's some money on this channel, for real. But as a fan, I mean, all this knowledge is also attainable in other sources, is I guess the point. So I want to support your talent. I want to support the fact that you're real and shit, but I don't know. I've reviewed a lot of albums that like could make the same claim that he's done, and all of those $10 stacked up is not just $10. Like, it's like, that's the problem with this. It's like drugs in the sense that it's not just one time. You are literally gonna go out there and have to buy everybody's album, because like, you can be a little bit selective, but if you're really gonna go and support it all, like, I don't know that many of us can afford that habit. So it's kind of like, even though it seems a certain way when you're the person selling your project, it really, to me, shows an oversight into the psyche of like your fans and their actual predicament in not having access to a lot of the cash flow that existed once upon a time as the wealth disparity gets worse and the middle class dies and shit. So be that as it may, entertainment's gonna take a hit because people's broke and we need to find new ways to monetize that shit. But if you're really about that knowledge, give it away for free and sell them other shit. That's just my thoughts on all of that. In the modern world, it's the best way to approach it, but who the hell am I to say I know how to make money? Remy Ma and Pop are doing very well. I'm not doing as well as Papoose, so I recognize that shit. But I really like the second verse a lot, right? The chorus is good, man. America is more a colonial power than they because she is a hypocritical colonial power behind it. Sorry, because when it comes to music, here we are the Gorgon. America is more so a colonial power than they because she is a hypocritical colonial power behind it. I really like just the idea of the hypocrisy in the system, but then flowing into, if you think about the corruption in the music industry, what does your fan base consist of? Kids who use prescription drugs, older men following young girls in strip clubs, rappers claiming they gang members to get... Let's go back to older men following young girls in the strip clubs. I mean, the drug use, I mean, that's a complicated subject. That's totally fine. I mean, in the 60s, all the fans were were drug users, and everyone was okay with that shit, but that's fine. I'm not really thrilled with all the painkiller use either, and the music it produces. That's whatever. But I mean, I'm certain a lot of potheads is fucking bumping Papoose. So his fans are using illegal and recreational. Actually, marijuana is a prescription drug now. So yeah, all the people smoking pot on prescription drugs listening to Papoose are also his fans using prescription drugs. That's fine. I get the point he's trying to make. I'm just being a shit. But older men following young girls in the strip club sign is easy, because if you think about all the rappers and shit as they do age and they still portray a certain lifestyle, that's an interesting point. Is it cool? I don't know if it's cool or not. I feel like lately the old man going after young ladies thing is not a really appreciated thing in society, unless you're a rapper throwing a lot of money at strippers for them to have sex with you, which isn't that cool to me. Anyway, rappers claiming they gang members just to get the buzz. I mean, Tekashi did just happen. That's a very fair line. Gang members claiming they rappers just to get love. Y'all confusing the audience. Y'all got it mixed up. You the little homie. You ain't the big blood. And I really like the idea of how everyone's kind of just trying to do things that they really aren't. So you do have a lot of, I guess, gang folk who make rap music for XYZ reason, and maybe they don't have the talent or the heart for the passion of the music, but they understand the science of it, let's say. Or on the other hand, you have these really passionate rappers who want to be hard for the sake of it because they think it's supposed to be. And I really appreciate just how he breaks all of it. Like, he breaks it down in such a blunt way where it really makes you think. I was in the prayers talking to God, hoping to hear me while you sitting on your iPhone talking to Siri. I'm feeling kind of leery. The devil must be near me. Yellow belly sapsuckers, you bird canaries. I do this for the granny, my mammy, and Aunt Mary. We all one family. They handled us unfairly. And I just appreciate how, like, he puts his influence in there and saying, like, for me, I'm God driven. My people, my family, and all that shit. But y'all's into this, like, modern world. Although, let's be real, talking to the voice assistants is kind of cool. I've really gotten into I won't say it in full, but the Google, with the word okay in front of it, is something that I have gotten into using, as we got one. Oh, if you're on Spotify, did you get your free Google Home Mini? We got one. It's coming in. But we got one for Christmas, and it's been pretty fun to ask it the weather and ask it stupid questions. Still, I really like this track. I thought it was really enjoyable, really hard in the sense of good topics, really challenging kind of the status quo. What I like about Papoose is he's not doing your typical underground rapper thing where he's like, the mainstream is lame and they're not supporting me. It's more like he's showing, dude, I'm all about this integrity. I don't really know what you represent, and that's why I'm doper than you. I came from this real shit. You came from that not real shit. So overall, 4.5 on 5. Really dope track. Really consistent for this album, I think. And I'm really impressed. And these songs aren't really long, but they're really dense. I think that's really cool. I think if he had tried to fluff them out with the extra minute of chorus and shit, it would have taken a lot away. So I appreciate that. But the next one approaches a little less of an interesting subject matter for me as we discuss the bag.
B-A-G, they gon' ride cause I got to B-A-G. Just bought a new house cause
I mean, the beat's really, really fucking nice. It flows real well. I really kind of like, I got the B-A-G, I got the B-A-G, I got the B-A-G, got the B-A-G. And it just kind of flows. Secure the bag, sitting back. It's a long chorus. It is literally the kind of chorus I was describing on the last track. But just to counter what I said on the last track, Papoose on this album should have a wide range of songs. And if you think about it, he had some flossy shit, he got some conscious shit, and now he's just on that more other kind of flossy, money-based shit. And why not, right? He's got money. It's very important to him, evidently. And it's not like it's his driving force, but I do think that him making a track kind of flossing it, that he's earned it, is totally fair. And for all the people that want to bump to that type of shit, this song is, I guess, for them. I don't know. I got the B-A-G, they call me P-A-P. I be sunning these rappers, I'm your D-A-D. It's do or die, I believe A-Z. He told me I'm competitive when I seen Jay-Z. I mean, Do or Die is an AZ album, I believe, and then he kind of changes it to Do or Die, I think. I might be wrong with that. It just sounds so okay. Had to visit my wife. I ain't got no gas money. Look at me now. Yeah, I got the bag dummy. Traveling every day. I'm never home a lot. Just check my account. Another check from Scott. So I guess it's a little bit of like, yo, I remember when I had to go to the jail to visit Remy Ma broke, but now we set. We got that money. He was dead broke. Now he's got the bag. He hustles hard. He's got the bag. I don't know. He just pops the tag at the Gucci Louis. Like, I mean, I feel like with all the ease I had talking about the last one, this is just like a fun, flowy, I finally got some cash and I'm lucking it up, man. Saks Fifth Ave, I'm gonna fuck it up. Messing up a bag, I'm gonna fuck it up. And it's just like, okay, I guess that's fun. I mean, I don't really connect with this song as well as the other ones, but just listening to it casually, it's got a great flow, it's got a great beat, it's really well put together. I just don't know that it's fully for me, but because the beat is so hype and it's so well put together, and as far as the more popular side goes, it's really done. It's still got, like, I don't feel like this is fake, and even though it's braggadocious, it's more like he's having fun with it than he's trying to like flaunt in your face. He's just kind of happy he's got a bag now. Anyway, I give it a 4.25. I hear Joe Budden and Remy Ma talking about the bag all the time, so it just made me think of them. I mean, these are people who have, I guess, worked their whole life to get their career in place, and this is something that's very important to them, so I get it. But all things considered, this might be one of the least interesting songs on the album for me. So I'm going to move on to a far more interesting one as we discuss The Golden Child.
She afraid I'ma spoil you loudly. She hate to hear the noise. The world is...
Wow, this song is really like heavy. I mean, so it's featuring Angelica Villa, who sings on the chorus, and it's also featuring Remy Ma. So I think right off the jump, when the song's called The Golden Child, and you know Remy Ma is pregnant, I actually don't know if she's given birth yet. I think she's still pregnant. And then you see this couple doing a song, you're like, oh shit, this one's gonna get me in the feels, isn't it? And it really does. Starts with Papoose, and it starts with the fucking baby's heartbeat. Like, they got the heartbeat when they do that thing in the pregnancy where they give you the heartbeat. I don't really know how it works. I've never had a kid. And then they sampled that shit as like a bass part of the beat. So it's almost like this whole song is almost featuring their child, making it like a family experience, which, come on, that's hella fucking sweet and romantic and shit. Good on you, Papoose. Really, like, to see that kind of shit, it's inspiring in a sense. It's almost dumbfounding. But it was love at first sight. When I met your mom, I was open. While she the queen, I'm supposed to bow. Pretty face with a potent smile. We planned to have you back then, but tragedy slowed us down. We'll get to the tragedy in the next verse, because she went away for a while when your dad had to hold it down. Oh, sorry, that's when she went to jail. And then I questioned God, like, why is this happening? It's about everything that happened for a reason. I got it now. They argue about her names, but he's just like, nah, it doesn't matter what your name is because you're the golden child. And, it just kind of moves into talking about his family, like, I sing to your mama's stomach. She say, I'm annoyed. Won't you shut up and just go to sleep? I don't want to hear it, boy. She always say I'm annoying, but she paranoid. She afraid I'ma spoil you loudly. She hate to hear the noise. The world is yours. I promise you don't gotta share your toys. I won't let you cry unless the tears crying are tears of joy. And it is like this dad who's just so excited to give like the best life, and as a guy, I know exactly what it's like to annoy the ladies, so I can just picture her being like, oh, shut up, you're just being annoying, you're not going to actually do all that shit. And that just sounds like a conversation I would have. And I think that's what really makes this truly special, is that anybody could have this conversation, right? Like, this is real to the point where it doesn't matter who you are. If you're in a couple and you've had some shit go down that delayed you having a kid or whatever, and then you build up to that chorus, I heard your heartbeat, I heard your heartbeat, I cannot wait to strap you down in the car seat, like, can't wait to make your bottle and you are me. Like, it's just so regular and sweet and nice, and like, you can't even help but like just feel all special. But then Remy comes in. They said first comes love and then comes marriage. You're like, okay, that's a little corny. Never mentioned the devastation of having a miscarriage. Oh, that makes a lot more sense. That's why she did that. I was torn up, broken down, felt less than a woman, but all the pain erased when the doctor said you was coming. Me and Daddy was so happy. This is all we ever wanted. So protective of your presence. I was scared to show my stomach. I mean, I can't really imagine what it's like to go through miscarriages and shit, but if you're trying to have kids and it's just not, like, working out, and then I never even really considered how that might make you how it might make you feel as a woman, like you failed at like this one thing that you're almost on earth to do. But then after dealing with all that, where obviously Papoose was around, to have this kid coming, it's like the joys of it all. And I think this really hit me because, like, my aunt wasn't supposed to have a kid, but at 39 years old, with half of one ovary, like 1.5 of her ovaries are gone, and she had like one left, she got pregnant. It's like a miracle baby, and now that little girl's growing up and doing all that shit, and it's like, damn, my little cousin wasn't even supposed to be here in theory. And then, like, I remember some doctor told my mom how she wasn't even supposed to have kids, and then, like, she was like, what are you talking about? I have 2 kids, because me and my brother were born at that point. But then it's just really strong, like she kind of points out her self-consciousness over looking fat and hating on her ankles and shit like that. But I like how she, like, the beat kind of changes. You just hear the heartbeat, and it's like, all my ladies, listen up. Never think of giving up. Doc said that we couldn't, but look what God has given us. And it's just really, like, powerful. I really think so. Like, it's just, you just feel like this appreciation and joy the whole way through. And then that third verse is Papoose almost like talking to the kid, like, I'm gonna teach you all the right things in life. Sorry that you was born into the Donald Trump era. Damn, that's a powerful line. Like, I haven't even considered that. Like, if you do have a kid and realizing that times are what they are, it's like, wow, it's like you got born into one of the weirdest eras in American history. And then I appreciate the next lines. Thank you that I'm a king. Thankful your mom is a queen. You was born under marriage. Black love is supreme. Like, just like proud that they just did it all right. Like, they didn't cut the corners. This wasn't some accident. This is like a pure, proper everything. And then following it up with again, like, always respect your elders. Say thank you and please. Your grandmother gonna make you some macaroni and cheese. And it's like, it's incredible that these 2 people could create, or I guess with Angelica, so these 3 people plus the beat maker, so everybody made this song that really expresses such a powerful anticipation of a kid coming and stuff. I was like, wow, that's great. And there's the music video where you see Joe Budden in his awkward looking hat. In the video you see Fat Joe and shit, and I was like, that's a really cool video. It looked like everyone was happy, and when you see Papoose and Remy just next to each other, like, it's a really squishy feeling. It's the right word for it. So 4.5 on 5. Corny as fuck video, but really, like, this is the kind of song where you get to make corny as fuck shit. Because it was corny, but amazing. Like, it is the right kind of corny. Anyway, if you thought that one was bad, just wait till we talk about Precious Jewels.
Seen it inside of her. Before I met you, I was your secret admirer. Security.
So in this one, you have almost like a perfect follow-up, because I suppose without his precious jewel, Miss Remy Ma, there would be no golden child. So he follows up the story, I guess, of his child coming with his admiration to his partner, his woman, his life. And it's just really, like, touching. Like, I'll be fully honest with you. While I was listening to this song, while I was doing my review a couple weeks back, I, like, sent this super heartfelt message to Bonnie that made her walk into the room and just fucking kiss me, because Papoose made me think about that shit and appreciate her and all that crap. And so I was like, it doesn't really matter what you think. I don't know how good or bad the song was in terms of the technicalities of shit, because the emotion conveyed is so powerful. And I think that's something that he does so well with all of these tracks, is convey the absolute perfect emotion to hit what this song's supposed to be. So it's a really calm story. Like, I think I fell in love with her when she told me her story that she'd been through in her life, her pain and her glory, certain situations. Wish I was there, would have protected her. She survived it by herself. I respected her. She came from a hard place, but she did it on her own. And even though he couldn't be there, seeing this strong and interesting woman, her story, her mind, it just attracted her. Plus, she's hot and shit, We exchanged numbers, etc., etc. And he just kind of wants to respect her, and he, like, looks at her as this thing. He went on tour and then finds out she got sentenced over this bad situation, and they stayed loyal and they made it happen, and it was just freaking heartwarming. And then You have Musiq Soulchild singing on the chorus how he wants to just make you pure and all the other things the guys other dudes won't do, he'll do for you. It's proper. And then I really like even in the second verse, just like there's a certain fun to it when he's like, nibble on your nipple and have you bite in your bottom lip. Inner beauty, I seen it inside her. Before I met you, I was your secret admirer. Security, gotta pat you down. Titties so big they might back me down. And you know what? I feel like in this world of like misogyny and all this other stuff that's going around, I think people forget that like if you are dating that person, you're supposed to want to tear that shit apart. You're supposed to look at her and be like, yo, she fine as fuck. And like think about all the dirty ass things you want to do to her. Because if anything, you're supposed to do that to the one you're with. Like to me, it would be weird if you didn't look at her and be like, I want to fuck that shit. Like, just fuck it and tear it apart and all that good stuff. In, like, the sexiest, respectfulest way possible. But, like, sometimes you just into her and you can't help it. I like it. I like how he's just so into her and you feel it. He just wants to make her happy and treat her, like, proper and whatever. It really flows nicely. And then, yeah, I don't know, man. His little outro where it's like a woman is the most precious jewel, more precious than a ruby, emerald, diamond, or sapphire. Each man gotta take one woman and rise her above the rest so she can see how precious she is. Precious jewel, you deserve better, you know? And I'm like, damn, Papoose got me all thinking about how great she is and, you know, considering all the wonderful parts about her and stuff. I'm like, it's really cool. It's really like the right kind of track, in my opinion, that needs to be written. Like, for a long while, I sit there and I wonder, like, where are the people in relationships writing music? Like, where are the people who are just like, I want to tear my wife apart. Like, I just want to fuck my wife. Like, you don't really hear that much. You really don't. Maybe it's because all the wives are like, you're not allowed to write that song. That's also possible. I feel like if I tried to write that song, I'd get in trouble. But still, I like this. I like that he just puts her out there like that. Anyway, I was really touched by it. The beat's really nice. It's really soulful. And I give it a 4.75 on 5. This is a freaking great song. But following up, Papoose, man, just to keep it interesting, with some discipline.
I'm gonna kick yours.
This is an interesting hook. I don't know if it's actually sampled from something. Oh, it is. It's To the Other Man by Luther Ingram. And Mama used to take me across her lap. She used to whip me with a strap when I was bad. I didn't know at the time being bad could lead to crime, but now I'm glad. And it's like reflecting on the discipline you received and its actual value in your life, because if you didn't have that discipline, perhaps you could have ended up going down some the worst paths. And then as a prospective father he might be thinking about all the principles and values that a child should be learning and shit. And as the good hip-hop leader he's trying to be, figured, fuck it, I'ma just remind everyone about the common sense rules we should all be following. And that's what this track kind of is. It's almost like he's talking to his kid in a bit, like in a few years. You know, you are not allowed to fist fight with your brother. Never put hands on your sister. You better love her. To put your hands on any woman makes you a sucker. Wash your hands before you sit down for supper. You see an old lady with bags, you better help her. Get your ass whipped if you respect the elders. Running in and out of the house. Okay then, next time you run in this house, you better stay in. Take your hat off in the house. I fucking hate that rule. I'm talking about myself. I hate that rule. It's a real rule. I don't follow it very well. But I just kind of like it. I like how it's just all this common sense shit, line by fucking line. Bullying was unacceptable. Wasn't this soft? If you don't kick his ass, your mom gonna kick yours. So I even like how he ends it with like this really like almost common sense approach to life. Like, look, man, you have to learn to deal with the bullies in your life. You think that bully's bad? Wait till mama kicks your ass because you didn't deal with that shit. It's almost like puts a smile on my face, because it's another one of those songs where you're like, even as a fully grown adult, you're kind of sitting there and feeling like Papoose is reminding you of all the shit you're not doing right, all the little mannersy things. But I like how he starts this second verse with commenting on loyalty. Back in the days, even the fans was loyal. Stuck with our teams till they made it. Now y'all switch teams every time LeBron get traded. Appreciate the tough love because it's advanced us. Without that, we probably wouldn't have been Black Panthers. Perhaps our sisters would have been lap dancers, and then would have put to the test we won't have answers. And I kind of appreciate how it's like these days people really do switch up. And you can look at it whether it's sports teams or music and shit, but there's not a lot of clinging to your peoples. You basically cling to what's hot or what's fashionable and shit, and that seems to be what's being preached. Whereas I like how he's reinforcing and doubling down on how even during the worst times you stick with your people and you support your squad, because that's the true thing. That's how, and understanding the darker parts of life and the tougher shit leads to greater perseverances, and giving into it can lead to some more negative shit. And then he just goes right back into the regular. Walk in, wipe your feet off the welcome mat. Disrespect this house, you're not welcome back. You failed this time, do better. Snitching wasn't a go. You couldn't even be a tattletailer. So, like, keep your mouth shut, you know, do all the things, don't say names, all that other shit. And honestly, it is really good principles, because we are living in a world where maybe everyone, especially myself, I talk way too much sometimes in my regular life. And so I'll apologize, because sometimes I handle things rudely, and it's just having all of these different little lessons here line by line. Pretty fucking good song. I really liked it. I thought it was great follow-up. I gave it another 4.5. It's really kind of cool to hear it on this project. Like, so far, like, I had no idea what to get into it, but I do think Papoose has proven he's underrated with the wide variety of wise topics that he's put on this project. And if y'all liked Empire, I wonder how you feel about Time on My Side.
Maybe we all should live in a shell. Time would travel as quick as a snail. Maybe I
think it's the V. V is the one who writes Time on My Side. Like, you see her in the promos with Terrence Howard, and like you hear her singing and belting it out, and then you watch the show and she has like the minorest role. I mean, I'll be honest, I only got to season 3, but like, I heard that and I'm like, isn't that from Empire? And then I didn't really like the original, but he like doubles the speed on it and it fits so nice. I really like this hook, just mostly because he doubled the speed, and I feel that it fits that much nicer. But yeah, this track is kind of reflecting a little bit on just the time in his life, you know? Maybe I'll get in my ship and just sail distance away. Splitting without even giving farewell. Ain't giving no visits, ain't sending no pictures. You hounds will probably be sniffing my smell. Following, using my scent as a trail. This is the story, I'm living my tale. Sick of the business, won't beg for forgiveness with quickness and burn all my bridges and bail. And it's like, you feel like he's reflecting on shit and wondering, like, if I just disappear, what's gonna happen? Probably could just do this. I'm not necessarily interested in the nonsense that's going on. And I like the idea of him not begging for forgiveness. He burns his bridges and just kind of, I don't know, I feel like he's just sitting there and thinking about his life as he's writing this. I know I'm not doing the best description on this one. I apologize. But you really just kind of like think about him waiting. I mean, I like how he ends the verse as he's kind of like waiting for Remy. Like, freedom was weight on the prisoner scale, writing me letters, she sit in a cell. Maybe we all should just live in a shell. Time would travel as quick as a snail. Maybe our past life we are all winning relentless, and now we living in hell. And it flows into the chorus, and I guess it's just kind of exploring maybe just what it felt like waiting and how good he is at it. And I don't know, maybe I missed the point on this one, but I really just kind of appreciate how he took the time again to look into it. In the second verse, you've got a lot more going on, kind of looking into how when he was younger, he had this big old squad, and as time went on, it's like everyone kind of abandoned him. And I guess with his current success in his life, he's able to look back and reflect and be like, you know what, I'm still winning because I still have time. You know, he had to reinvent himself. He had to like figure out how to make it. Maybe he made some mistakes along the way. Maybe situations weren't perfect, but as long as you have time, you are able to make it work. So anyway, I just kind of really dug the track. I thought it had a good vibe to it. It had a really good pensive tone to it and everything. And it worked out pretty nice. I know my explanation sucked. I'm not always perfect. Sorry about that. But still, instead of wasting time further on this, I gave this one a 4.5. I would recommend it just for the vibe of it, for the overall flow. Like, I feel like Golden Child, Straight to Timeless on my side is like this little, like, almost like really personal snippet into his life and his kind of situations as his family's evolved and developed. So I really liked it. Anyway, the next one is called S.H.O.O.T.E.R.
Won't believe me either. Hold up, I need a breather.
So I believe that this song is again going. So first of all, it's really fucking hard. It just comes in with this whole new vibe. Like, we are done with the personal shit. We are back on that flossing shit. And yeah, man, he's a shooter. Look down on my side. He's got the Ruger. Haters keep running them out. They spread rumors. None of these lame can't do nothing to us. Do something to us. Your talk go through us. Sent the haters to the ERs. You know, like, it's aggressive. It's hard. And I think it's kind of looking at maybe just the faker, weaker people in the game, the shit talkers, maybe the people he was criticizing earlier on the album for having no integrities and shit. Whereas these guys is real and coming from a different environment, because it's also featuring Casanova, which may be the first male rapper he's featured on this project. 3 felonies is what they gave me. Predicate felon is what they named me. They threw shots, them shits grazed me. I threw shots, it got cravey. Arm, leg up, arm, head. I ain't got no ops no more, they all dead. And it's just fucking hard. People came at him. He destroyed them. He comes at it. I don't know that. Sorry about that. There's a whole lot deeper than that. He's doing his shit proper. I kind of like the part where he ends the verse and he's like, hold up, I need a breather. Hold on. I won't believe me either. Where it's like the idea of him stopping or taking a break or not continuing to go on and do this shit is kind of a joke. And then he repeats it a second time. And I don't know if I got like the most profound shit out of the verse, but I think Casanova sounds absolutely wonderful on this track, and he pulls it off really well. Like, I've never heard him before that I can think of. I probably have, but I can't think of it. But I was really like, damn, that guy sounds great next to Papoose. And then Papoose comes in. Me and my constituents notice how much a bitch you is. We don't care how rich you is, lit you is, cause it's frivolous. To judge you by residuals just makes it all ridiculous. We just trying to seize up a casket we could all fit you in. And it's like, yo, in this era, and I like this because in this era, everybody seems to be looking at, your sales of your records or how much you're popping as a measure of your talent. So essentially, if a guy can sell 1 million records, it means he's more talented than a person who might be only moved 100,000 records. I'm not saying and that it is always the case, but especially from the perspective of the people selling records on the more vapid side of things, it might be their only claim to fame. If the only thing you have going for you is you sold a lot of records, then you're not necessarily that good in the eyes of a lot of other people, including me. Like, who the fuck cares if you sold a record? I care about your integrity. So it's making me like Papoose here is his consistency, the fact that he keeps it like to the core of who he is, even if it's at the cost of maybe selling records, because he knows he could make some pop-ass shit that gonna sell. On the other hand, he's making some real shit that will be like soul and sustenance to his people. And I really like that. Like, there's that difference between them. Everybody got their own issues. No one is issueless, but I'm a straight shooter. Is my missile of fish. You diss you, bitch. Busting shots at me and missing the cancel Christmas prick. Burn you like a mattress with syphilis who promiscuous. Sorry, burn you like a mistress with syphilis who promiscuous. I just fucking hard. I love the flow. I love the rhyming pattern, his intensity. He's a smart lyricist from a country that robs innocence. You know, like, manages to still drop in some political shit in the middle of it, making sure you are constantly feeling a little bit of challenge in it. So I really feel like there's an aggression to it. The beat's pretty hype. Overall, it is what it is. I feel like it's a reminder that after all that softer side of shit, he's still fucking hard. That's what I feel like the purpose of this song is on this project. I give it a 4.35. I thought it was really good to listen to. It was definitely not my favorite, but man, it's still fucking hype and fire. And then the last one on this project checks in at under 2 minutes as we mash the gas on him.
Man, I'm rather unique. I bar weed, stick the jab in your cheek.
Structurally, this one's a little bit different. It's got the beat, it's got a verse, and then it's got the hook one time, and then it ends. But it's a pretty fucking hard-hitting verse. It's like just kind of again focusing and reminding the fake folk to be real when you're dealing with real. So we got to get back in the streets. Quit dragging your feet. I got the Mac in the back of the Jeep. Click clack, man, I'm grabbing the heat. They be bragging they deep. We attacking while these maggots asleep. No ransom, kidnapping for keeps. They gon' be wrapped in them sheets. Feed the wolves, so we stabbing the sheep. Give me the bottle, don't be passing my drink. You see me dragging my milk. AZ man, I'm rather unique. And you got this, I don't know if if he's friends with AZ. Actually, I know who AZ is, but he's mentioned him twice, and he's one of the only people he really mentioned on this project. So if you guys in the comments know, I didn't even think to Google it till this second as I'm recording, but I really just like it. Like, him and his squad is proper. They come from that era where they go in and they do the shit that they're going to do, and everyone else is kind of faking shit, and he just kind of flows in, and he sounds hard again on this one. A reminder of where he comes from, the type of mentality he rolls with, and it's fucking just like he rolls in, you know. Don't be speaking with your actions. It's a fact that you weak. You be committing malpractice. You don't practice, you preach. And I really like how he ends that, because fundamentally his beef with people is when they come around and they talk about the shit that they don't do and use it to like get paid. It's one thing to like document an environment or to like tell stories that have like a greater purpose, but it's another thing to claim you are a certain thing for the sake of profit, or to like play up on doing drugs or whatever just to sell records, even if that's not your life, or to pretend to be a gangbanger to commit crimes if it's not your life. That seems to be the grievance here, is spit what you know and be who you are. And if more people did that, well, I don't even know what hip-hop would become, because most people probably live way more boring lives than what you see going on in the music industry. I mean, shit, I spent most of my life inside of a room, either it's listening to music or talking to a camera or whatever, if it's at work. But I think most people, including a lot of the rappers, probably just aren't as interesting as the music is. So it really should come down to your ideas and your integrity and who you are. So if you were to be real, it's just, anyway, that's just a little side point. Still, it ends with that mash the gas on him. It's just fucking hard. It just fucking hits. And I don't know, I really enjoyed the song. I think it's a cool way to end out the album, but I feel like it just the album took like a harsh turn, and then it just ended on this track, which, it's alright. I give it a 4.25. I don't know if it's my favorite song on this project, but it's pretty good and pretty well made. Like, the worst of this album is still really fucking well made, is what I'm trying to convey. So that's about it for the project. If we want to just wrap it up for those of you that like to cut to the end, Papoose has delivered an album that proves he's actually underrated, in the sense that his lyrics are on point, consistent. All the songs approach different subject matter. He's not repeating himself. He's managing to make it diverse. He has a different array of beats and styles that he's playing with, including some more kind of poppy stuff. He really is a wise guy. You can feel his age and wisdom and his accomplishments and just his grind ethic in the music that he conveys. It's clearly about trying to set a better way. Like, Papoose is taking on that more role model moniker in this world, and I really appreciate that. You can tell that he's probably not going to get the love he deserves on this project because it's too fucking intelligent for like the world where it's at. And I have to say, it's a very intelligent album that will challenge you to live better. And I really like that about it. I mean, that's what it did for me. A lot of this stuff, like even that Discipline song, man, I can't stop thinking about it. Like, you know, some of the things that maybe you could just do a little bit better in your regular life, even if it's directed more at a child, you know? I really appreciate the honesty, and you really feel that integrity that he has while being an impeccably good lyricist. His timing is on point. The rhythms, he follows everything, and he adheres to all the rules the way that he's supposed to, and I really appreciate it. Anyway, that's all I gotta say about that. I guess that's the end of this review. So I want to appreciate all y'all for watching this. It really means the world to me that you would be here and just check it out like that. So feel free to let me know in the comments anything that you thought, anything you want to add to this, because, you know, other people check the comments. So if I made a mistake and you correct me, they'll see that, and everybody learns and grows together. If you make that effort to leave a comment, I'll make that effort to come answer you. And yeah, that's just the community we're trying to grow here. Special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, DJ Black Hurricane, Lindale Williams, and Jonathan Barnes. They support what we do. They helped us get a new camera. They get to request specific albums for us to review. They get access to the content early when we're on time with everything. And it really means the world that we even have that going on. If you're not so down for that, feel free to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, please leave a comment. All that shit really helps the channel way more than you would know, or maybe you do know. Either way, it means the world. And yeah, so let us know what you think. I dropped a project recently, music-wise. I make raps. You can check that out on Bandcamp, Spotify. It's even on this YouTube channel, all that good shit. Sorry for the door again. I fucking can't stand it. But either way, thanks for being here. Have a great freaking weekend, day, whatever you watch this.